start even if you don't have it figured out. As writers and creatives, we can want to see the finished product, we can want to have our whole novel outlined, we can want to know exactly what our cover will look like before we start the writing, before we start sharing our journey. And my advice to you today is to just start, even if you don't have it figured out. So I put my book up on pre-sale, Write Like a Child. It was not written, it was very rough draft. I did not have the cover figured out. And so I put it up for pre-sale, kind of that line in the sand, this will be done. And then I had the opportunity to write pretty quickly and get those ideas out of my brain, fine-tuned. And when we're working on a creative project, there can be this pressure that our creative project has to be perfect, or it has to be the be-all, end-all, and that just stunts our creativity, that slows us down. And so when we can actually set a goal and just move towards it, and even just embrace the messy process, that is where the clarity comes. So for example, I knew that I wanted sunflowers on the cover of the book, and so I messaged my cover designer and I worked with AI to do a draft of the cover. And I was thinking, okay, write like a child, and then it'll have a big sunflower, and then it'll have the subtitle. But literally this week, where I only have like 6 more days to make changes before it's locked in for the pre-sale, I realized that sunflowers don't necessarily show people that this book is for writers. And so I went back to my cover designer and I said, hey, you know what, I love sunflowers and I think we should still incorporate them, but we really need to have the typewriter on the cover so that on Amazon, writers, my audience, know like this is a book for writers. And the other thing that changed as I was in motion was, at first I thought this subtitle of this series, these 3 books, would be Write Fast and Free. But then a few weeks later, I think I was going on a walk and I realized, you know what, that's actually going to be one of the books, Write Fast and Free. So it's Write Like a Child, Write Naked, and then Write Fast and Free. And again, I realized for my audience, if I just simply say Write Fast and Free, they're not going to realize there's a faith component with these books. And so I updated the series title to Writing and Faith Series for Writers. And I share those 2 examples not so you can see, oh wow, that's so cool, this book is coming. Yes, I'm so excited about that. But I'm sharing it with you because if I had waited to have everything figured out, my book would not be ready to launch. But the fact that I made the best decisions I could, I started moving forward with the ideas even though they weren't 100% formed, and then the clarity came as I sat with those ideas, as I sat down to do the writing, as I thought about my audience, prayed about my audience. And so my encouragement to you, whatever project is most important to you at this season, whatever you're working on, don't wait to have it all figured out to start. Just start. You can pivot later, you can change covers later, you can even change the titles later. Like, especially if you are self-publishing, you have so much control over all the elements. And part of why I'm doing this workshop later this month on Spark Books is because if we can shift our mindset from our book has to be the perfect thing that's all-encompassing, that covers the topic in its entirety, there's so much pressure in that. But if we can look at our books instead as a spark, this is to the best of my ability, putting the spark, the idea that's in me, into this book, and then trusting that it will spark other people. But it takes the pressure off having to have it include everything, be everything. And so for me, that's just given me a lot of freedom to realize, you know what, my books are spark books. They're meant to be like catalysts for people, and they don't have to be perfect and all-encompassing. And there's so much freedom in that. And yes, we still want to be excellent and do our best work, but also not perfectionistic, not stuck in procrastination. So I hope that that encouraged you today to take your next small step, because it's so good to start even if you don't have it all figured out.